entertain public comment. Please state your name and your address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Adrienne Britt Levesque, and I live at 2829 Hutchins Road, Lawrenceville. My family owns and runs a business here in Snellville, and it's in that regard that I respectfully submit my comments tonight. First, I would like to personally thank the members of council and of the Snellville Tourism and Trade who've worked so hard over the last 2 years to give us an amazing community experience. I grew up here in Snellville and have many fond memories of grand Snellville Day parades of my youth. And then for several years, the events in Snellville hit a decline that kind of drove us outside of our community and into others to find activities we could enjoy. Recently, my husband and I, along with our children and grandson, have enjoyed the new and rejuvenated programs such as Snellville Days, Star Spangled Snellville, Popcorn in the Park, the award-winning Farmers Market, Fall Festival, the lighting of the Christmas tree. And at each of the events, I've consistently seen some of the members of council, the stat board, and a core group of regular volunteers all working together in a cohesive, productive, cooperative manner. Their time and talents have been instrumental in bringing the citizens of Snellville back together in our own community. My simple thanks is certainly not much, but I think I speak for many in our community when I give my sincere appreciation for every moment that you've dedicated to our community. You've worked tirelessly to give us a reason to once again say that Snellville is a place where we're truly proud to be someone. Second, I respectfully encourage each of you members of council to honor the wishes of those of us in Snellville that put you here when you exercise your voting privilege. We thank you for standing strong in the face of political games and misuse of power that you're facing. We appreciate your willingness to work in the combative atmosphere which has unloaded itself upon you. Be strong and know that you have a grateful community behind you. Keep the faith in the face of adversity, and please continue to move Snellville forward. Finally, Mayor Couts, I want you to know that there are many of us in Snellville and beyond who see your games. We recognize your spin, and we intend to hold you accountable for every misuse of power you attempt. You've come into your position with claims to take Snellville back, and we say no thank you. The old Snellville is not what we want. We are a committed group of citizens who look forward into a bright future, attempting to make our city a place where people want to live, work, and play. Your divisive tactics are breaking down the unity that has grown in our community. You have redrawn battle lines which had faded into the past and revived a negative media presence that our city servants worked very hard to overcome. Your continued efforts to strong-arm not only this council, but our entire city have brought back from the shadows a cloak of shame that hung over us for many years. However, the shame belongs on you. First for dishonoring the campaign process, then the city charter, and now the selfless efforts of those who have volunteered their time to resurrect our community pride. I encourage you to remember that you're a servant of this city, not your political party and not yourself. I encourage you to recognize the error of your ways and begin working cooperatively with those who have been collectively charged with running our city. Remember that you alone do not represent the direction or the leadership of Snellville. You're merely one of a group. Stop your strong arm, take Snellville back, politically driven, backhanded brand of leadership, and embrace the opportunity to work with willing, talented, dedicated people who are already in the process of offering tremendous time and talent on all of our behalf. And to use your own words, govern yourself accordingly.
My name is Patty Tyson, and I live at 2225 Springdale Drive, Snellville. My name is Patty Tyson. I am the captain of Tyson's Tata Troops. We have participated in the Snellville Farmers Market for the past 2 years, raising funds to help find a cure for breast cancer. I am also a survivor. Ms. Mayor, I would like to ask you a few questions about your decision to not allow Kelly and Gretchen to continue to serve their positions with the Festival Committee and the Farmers Market.
This is public comment. If you want to ask me questions, feel free to make an appointment or to email me, but I can't answer any questions during this.
That's fine, but I would like to just put these out there for you to think about. Okay. The first question is, have either of them failed to produce positive results in their positions? Number 2, have there been any complaints about their performance of the duties required of these positions? 3, if not, then what is your reasoning for not allowing them to continue serving the city of Snellville? And number 4, have you actually attended the farmers market other than the ribbon cutting ceremony on the very first day and seen the sense of community and friendship that exists there? As far as I can tell, they have both achieved success that has far exceeded expectations. The only reason that I can fathom that you are against them staying in their positions is the fact that they publicly supported your opponent in the mayoral election. If that is the reason, it is time for you to grow up and get over the high school drama. You are the leader of our city. Please act that way. Thank you.
Rita Sabah. Mike Sabah is my husband, and I live. What's that? 1600 Summit View Way. First of all, I'd like to address one thing. I'm very disappointed of the accusation that Mike Sabah got accused with my husband about that he's a member of Al-Qaeda. When we come to the city council meeting, we like to come and see professional atmosphere to care about Snellville, not to sit and pick on each other from our own councilmen. And before we judge, before we use the name of the Lord, we should act like Christians. Not just to use the name of the Lord and act with the fishes and accusation to somebody who is innocent and have nothing to do with Al-Qaeda. I'm very disappointed, very shameful. We've been here 21 years, and we should love our city. The second thing, I like to thank you, Mayor, so much for your work. You don't take sides, you care for Snellville, and we're here for Snellville, and I don't care who laughs. We really appreciate your work. And we should not go as teams. We're not in high school, we're not in grammar school or middle school. We really appreciate your work, and God bless you.
This one's tough. All I can say,
Excuse me, sir. State your name and
yes,
address
Russ
for the record.
Newsbliger, and I still live at 2308 Eastwood Drive. I, in my comments last month, mentioned, I didn't use the word olive branch. I used the word compromise. And I think the olive branch is the symbol of compromise and peace. But it doesn't work when it's laced with arsenic.
Tricia Rollins, 2088 Harbor Oaks Drive. I'd like for Mr. Bentley to stand up. We represent one of the communities, one of the neighborhoods in the community. We represent one of the neighborhoods in this community. I'd like to recognize Dave Emanuel, Tom Wentz, Bobby Howard for joining our subdivision along with the chief to bring us out of a horrible time. They are examples of what positiveness can do in this community. We were a hurting neighborhood. These members, along with the chief, and Mr. Bentley can testify, have brought positiveness to our neighborhood. I would just like them recognized. Thank you.
Dennis Lawton, 3041 Elta Ridge Way. You have meetings Friday and Saturday that are vital, as far as I know in the past, to setting up a lot of standards for the city of Snellville. What I saw tonight concerns me more than anything of what that meeting's going to be about and whether anything can be accomplished if we continue this way as the olive branch or whatever it is. But the controversies are there, and unless you get that straightened out in the next 3 days, from what I saw tonight at the meeting, at the work session, and at the general meeting, I don't think you can keep Snellville moving forward because I don't think you can discuss it in an open-minded fashion. That's my concern. None of you have open minds where you've all got great ideas or wants, but unless you come together, the city of Snellville is going to suffer immensely, because there's every other city in Gwinnett County, DeKalb County, the metropolitan area that is fighting for new citizens, new business, and new opportunities. And if we don't show strength in numbers from our leadership, nobody's going to come and talk to us or want to form their business or live here. So I would hope that the number one priority in this retreat becomes the first thing on the agenda is what can we do to discuss, and discuss in an open-minded way. The other thing is that what I saw, the reactions and outbursts, and one other thing that bothered me more than anything, the meeting was scheduled at 7:30, and you go till 8:30. I mean, you had on your agenda, you had 80 kids here, or 60 kids and parents. We didn't even concern ourselves with it. I fully understand that you have agendas that you have to bring up as far as in you're just going to, and you're going to listen to somebody about Market Street and promoting Snellville. And the first thing you got to promote Snellville is we got unity or a positive direction from the leadership. That's what, hopefully you'll do that.
Mayor Michelle Couch, 4360 Hillsborough Way, Snellville. Mayor Couch, you and I, several years back, had a very pleasurable lunch at Summit Chase Country Club when you first came on the political scene. And we had a very candid conversation, and, you know, I told you my political standings, and we haven't agreed over the years. But we recently became Facebook friends, and I asked you to please reconsider your position on the stat board members, and you actually did that tonight, and I want to thank you. I appreciate you reconsidering that, and I appreciate that, and I want you to know that, and I want everyone in this room to know that. They've done a great job, and they deserve to keep their positions. I don't have an issue with the three that you recommended. I encourage you and them to get involved in this city. I just don't think that they necessarily need to hold leadership positions at this particular point when they have not yet been involved. I don't think that's the right place for them to begin their service to this city. And I hope that you will understand that and consider that, because that truly is what's the best for this city and for this organization. You hold a thankless job, and that's not the first time I've stood at this podium and said that to the mayor. And you all, I thank you for your service. It's not easy. I wish you luck in your retreat that you head into this weekend, and I ask you to open your minds, keep the goal line in your hearts, and do what's right for the city. And keep your focus on what's right and try to get along. Thank you.
Mike Garrett, live at 1990 Millfield Circle in Snellville, also pastor of Westminster Presbyterian Church here in Snellville. Would like to encourage the council, I mean, obviously it has been a difficult evening, and would like to encourage the council that as you consider your retreat this weekend, that you might think seriously about inviting a mediator to be a part of your retreat. And I mean, and I don't mean that to sound flip, as one who moderates a lot of meetings where people are at odds with each other. Having a parliamentarian may be a great step forward, or having everybody have the Robert's Rules of Order may be a great step forward, but if the relationships aren't working together, the parliamentary procedure is not going to save you. And so all I'm suggesting is that maybe part of the agenda of the retreat would be to work on some communication and those sorts of things. I'm not casting any judgments, just making a suggestion, and would wish you a good retreat, and know that when you have that many hours together, good things can happen, but sometimes it helps to have someone from the outside come in and guide the process. Thank you.
Martha Whitman, 1485 Holly Lake Circle, Snellville, Georgia. Council people, mayor, and citizens, I came here tonight because I really wanted to show support to Gretchen and to Kelly, with whom I've worked at the Snellville Farmers Market. I put in 1/100th of the time that they put in, and so I know how hard they've worked, and I know what a difference it made to the city of Snellville. I used to kind of think of Snellville as the lunacy end of '78, and it's been really nice to feel differently the last few years. While working on the market, I got to know some other people. I got to know Barbara and I got to know Tom. I didn't see any other council people out there. I would have loved to see you, Kelly, and I would encourage you to get involved, because I think one of the best ways to get along with people is to work alongside them. I think that the bigger problem here, though, is not a particular appointment, although I would urge you all to consider keeping people in positions at which they're doing a good job. And if other people want to get involved, there are so many things that Snellville needs. So I would hope that people who are volunteering to be on boards would look for ways that they could be involved in maybe new areas that haven't been thought about before. There's a garden that's ready to be planted once it gets planned, so please bring your shovels. But I think the bigger problem here is that outside groups are giving people impetus to get involved in Snellville politics. And I'm a tree-hugging liberal. I'm about as green as they come. I believe in higher taxes, bigger government, and gun control. However, when I got home today and there was a message on my phone machine from the Democratic Party suggesting that I come out tonight and support Kelly because the council people were throwing up roadblocks, yet again, I was disgusted, because I don't think that the Democratic Party has a role in Snellville any more than the Republican Party has a role in Snellville. In all the if we can't teach our children with local politics how things could best be done, then we can't complain about things at a higher level either. So what I would just encourage us all to look about the ways that we can agree, find ways to agree moving forward, and look for ways to work together rather than sit behind the desk and argue. Maybe you all need to get your shovels and go out to across the street from the recycling center and work on a good hole for some compost, and it might make you feel a little bit differently about working together. But I do feel that people need to look for ways that they agree and look for ways to move forward and not ways to be divisive, because there's been far too much of that.
I'm Gretchen Schultz. I live at 2027 Tanglewood Drive in Snellville, and Martha gave me a great introduction to what I was going to stand up and talk to you about tonight. I think I'm a glutton for punishment, maybe, but I'm chairing a community garden at Snellville Committee now, in addition to the Snellville Farmers Market. And we're well on the way to having a community garden in Briscoe Park at the intersection of Marigold Road and Sawyer Parkway. We hope to open it this spring. But what I specifically want to mention to you is that on Thursday, January 19th at 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, January 21st at 1 p.m., we're inviting any community members to come and meet with us and give us input into what they would like to see in the community garden at Snellville. We want to know what kind of look they want the community garden to have, what kind of features they want in the garden. We really want their input so that this is something they will want to become involved with. So this is a great volunteer opportunity for folks to come and get involved and tell us what they want to see in the garden. And then, as Martha mentioned, when we're ready to actually start building the garden, they can come with hammers and construction equipment. They can come with shovels and help build the garden. There will be many opportunities for volunteerism. We have some flyers on the back table in the room about the garden and these input meetings that we have planned. So we would certainly love to have input, because we want this to be your garden, not just that planned by a small group of people.
My name's Brian Pendley, and I live in Loganville, but I'm a business owner here in Snellville. My address, Snellville address, is Scenic Highway, Suite 410, in the Presidential Market Shopping Center on 124. I am a board member on the STAT, and not fortunately I'm a elected board member, if that makes anything clear. I don't usually get up and talk before council members. I spend most of my time talking before the 18 employees that I have in my business. And I feel that it's important as a leader, Ms. Couts, that you should understand that you're only a leader if you have a group of followers who are actively working with you. If you have no followers, you actually aren't a leader, whether you've been elected to that position or not. Secondly, I think that it's important to understand, as far as choosing and appointing people for boards, you may want to make sure that those people are actually interested in doing the job that they will be taking over. I know you mentioned that you gave the council members 2 weeks to look over 10 people who you had nominated for boards, and 2 weeks for this many different people to look over 10 people and their qualifications to fill out a board may not be quite enough time to actually take that into consideration legitimately. As far as the council appointments for STAT are concerned, the 3 people who are slated to be replaced, if the individuals who may be interested in those nominations actually came and worked with the 3 people who are slated to be replaced, I believe they may come to you and tell you they're not interested in the positions. As a board member on STAT, I must claim to be possibly the worst board member that there is. I like to take vacations in the summertime, and Snellville Tourism and Trades events take place in the summertime. I have a son who's a competitive high school soccer player, and I like to enjoy his games on Saturday, and every Snellville Tourism and Trade event that I'm involved in happens on Saturdays. As stating that I own a business and have to operate that business efficiently, I find myself torn very often, as I have heard voice from many of Snellville Tourism and Trades board members, that it's very tough to operate and do everything that has to be done. And the 3 people who have been slated to be unnominated, as you would say, really are the meat and bones of what's happening. If you choose individuals who aren't ready for those positions, unless those individuals who you've pushed out of the way are willing to shelter that person through the whole process, everything that currently takes place in Snellville Tourism and Trade will cease to take place. I can't even imagine with Kelly McAloon's consistent involvement in the community and her ability to walk into any store in this community and ask for items to be given to Snellville Tourism and Trade so that a small budget can have something that that small budget couldn't purchase. Is the person ready that is going to take that position to be able to go? Are they going to be well received in stores? I'm not well received in stores when I go try to hang a poster for something that's going on in Snellville. So I'm not certain that an individual who no one's ever seen, and while that doesn't demean the people who have been nominated, because we always do, as everyone has said, and it's not false advertisement about STAT. If you want to come and volunteer, we welcome it. It's very needed. But the things that are done by the individuals who are on the chopping block, I would like to say, are things that I don't know that other individuals are actually ready to do. And it would be probably prudent if we do want to see Snellville move forward, seeing as STAT is definitely a part of moving Snellville forward, and everything that they're doing is a part of moving Snellville forward. Most of Snellville, who was here, was ready to leave because the meeting wasn't taking place on time, but most of Snellville showed up by the thousands for STAT events. So moving Snellville forward is events. It's things that people are interested in this community. And I would venture to say that you couldn't fit all of the individuals in this room who come to events in Snellville, because for the most part, we can see by our media, by everything in going on in society, most people aren't interested in politics. It's unfortunate that they're not interested in seeing what happens, but it's a reality. It seems that the people who are interested in politics come, the people who aren't don't, and that's just the way it is. So the people who want to see Snellville grow, the people who are needed to see Snellville grow, most of them are not even here tonight because they want to come play at an event for their kids. They don't want to come listen to a bunch of people argue about whether or not someone has the right to do something. And Mayor, it doesn't necessarily, it's not great for you to force the right to do something. Sometimes a leader should decide that it's time to do something because it makes sense, not because I can. That's not a great way to operate any sort of business. And this is a business just like anything else. You guys had discussion about financial matters. This is a business. And if your leadership is not behind you in business as a leader, you're going to have troubles. So I would just encourage any decisions for any appointments within Snellville, whether it be, the art hanging in here is a beautiful thing. I stop and look at those things. And so it's important, I think, for everyone to come to decisions on those things, but it's also important to make sure that everyone can look at the individuals who are considered for those things the same way that you all were considered. No one came and said, hey, I just showed up 2 weeks ago and I want to be voted for. So if they did, they wouldn't be voted for. So I think it should be important that individuals who are going to run and operate things that do move Snellville forward be looked at with more serious consideration, and that all members, I think all members, if given the opportunity to look at people, would make a legitimate decision as to whether or not that position that person was being thought of for was the right place for that person at that time. So I ask that you all just, work together to do that. And Mayor, I would ask that you would respect when others aren't exactly in agreement with you and try to find a way to become in agreement in the best way that's for the best interest, not of you and City Council, but for the best interest of the people and the businesses in Snellville. Thank you.
Is there any further public comment?
Patricia Sims, 2010 Haynes Creek Lane, Snellville. Mr. Emanuel, I would like to thank you for continuing to support and promote and publicize the co-op. It is such a very worthwhile endeavor, and it stays right here in our community. And I think it's exciting that the arts program is going forward. I think it's a very positive thing that we can be doing now. Thank you.
See no further comment. Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. A motion by Councilman Woods. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Emmanuel. All those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 6. All those opposed, 0. 6-0. The meeting is adjourned at 10:26.